It was the big return for Fulham to the Premier League up against Giants Liverpool this past weekend. But what did their opener tell us about their chances this season? There have been two very popular and repetitive narratives surrounding Fulham going into this Premier League season. The first is that they're a yo-yo club, too strong for the Championship, too weak for the Premier League. The second is that star striker Alexander Mitrovic is also too strong for the Championship and not good enough for the Premier League. Let's unpack the validity of each of those ideas and see whether Saturday's very positive opener against Liverpool will change what is rightly or wrongly the wider perception of Fulham. The yo-yo narrative is one that is frankly very hard to disagree with. Fulham won the Championship playoffs in 2018, got relegated in 19th place in 2019, won the Championship playoffs in 2020, got relegated in 18th place in 2021, and won the Championship outright in 2022. Look, we can debate the rights and wrongs of a season that seems very open to this type of yo-yoing happening, but regardless of the cause, the effects are that Fulham have yo-yoed constantly over the past 5 seasons. Mitrovic, on the other hand, is a little more complicated and in my opinion needs slightly more attention to get to the bottom of. For Fulham at Championship level, his record is extraordinary. 99 starts, 81 goals, 10 assists, a record-breaking goal machine, I think we'd all concur. In the Premier League, however, Mitrovic has had 2 seasons with Fulham. In the first, he scored 11 and got 3 assists, which on the surface is okay. To his credit, Fulham were not a good team at all in that first season, lost 26 of their 38 games. Against Mitro, though, his seasonal XG that year of 16.15 suggests he should have probably scored more than the 11 he got. It's the second season in the Premier League that really seems to define Mitrovic as a player to much of the wider footballing fan base. He scored 3, which means his seasonal numbers for the past 3 seasons go Championship, 26 goals, Premier League, 3 goals, Championship, 43 goals. Now, were you to only have absorbed that small sample of information, then look, I can almost understand why the narrative persists around Mitrovic. A tiny look below the surface, though, does tell us again several reasons for this low total in the Premier League, other than the very popular, well, he's not good enough narrative. Mitrovic only started 13 games, and again, Fulham were relegated, scoring just 27 goals in their 38 games. But the XG again doesn't show up well for Mitro, a big disparity between the seasonal 7.35 XG and the 3 goals he accumulated. I think we can say he should have scored more. To sum up the Mitro debate and move on to this season, it seems a case of something all too common in football debate, exaggeration to make a point. Is Mitrovic as good as Kane or Salah? No, of course he isn't. Not many people are. Is he absolutely terrible? No, of course he's not. Did he play in a couple of very bad teams as well as underperforming somewhat? Probably. Do his exceptional performances in the Championship somewhat muddy the issue of his Premier League performance? Most definitely. Fulham go into this latest Premier League season on the back of a title-winning campaign in the Championship under Marco Silva, defined by peerless attacking football and an astonishing amount of goals scored. 106 in their 46 league games, 43 for Mitrovic alone. They hit 7 3 times and 6 twice. The fullbacks were up on the edge of the opponent's box for much of the game, and playing to the strengths and serving up chances for their star striker was very high on the agenda. Playing this way up a division with these players would surely be suicide, right? Now, we know the opening day can sometimes do weird things, and we also know sometimes promotion teams can push through early in the season based on good feeling and a bit of momentum. But it cannot be overstated how good Liverpool have been under Jurgen Klopp in recent seasons, with that battle against Pep Guardiola seemingly taking themselves and Manchester City to new standards on the pitch and new heights in Premier League points scoring. So what exactly did we learn from that opening day 2-2 between Fulham and Liverpool? We'll get onto that next. Before that, just do me a quick favour, hit like and support the channel. The first thing we learned from opening day at Craven Cottage was the approach and personnel deployed by Fulham. It was the same system as last season and mainly the same players. Only Andreas Pereira and João Paulinho were added to the starting lineup in terms of new faces. Perhaps the drip effect for these new players who've been arriving during the summer will be the way forward for Fulham. The biggest thing was the approach, and despite hearing Jurgen Klopp criticising his team's attitude in the early part of this game, we definitely saw Fulham's aggressive attacking style from last season that worked so well for Marco Silva in the Championship. Fulham took the lead on 32. Quick turnover in midfield. Transition work down the right-hand side. Winger Kibano inside. Fullback Teti outside. Cross goes into the back post. The other winger in the 6-yard box. And there is Mitrovic where you want him, on the fullback, on the back post. And he just powers through Liverpool's Trent Alexander-Arnold to head home. What he hopes is the first of many this season. Look, we saw them do this to Peterborough and Barnsley last season. This is the Premier League now. This is Liverpool. And with his strength and power, this is the sort of play that will see Mitrovic score this type of goal against most opponents. Fulham went in 1-up at half-time. And other than the possession stats, most of the numbers were in their favour, as well as most people's eye test and the intangibles of opening day, being the underdog home crowd, etc. Liverpool, as expected, were going to come back in the second half. And here comes Darwin Núñez getting the equaliser across the near post and flicking in, maybe Fulham left-back Robinson, getting a little bit caught out of position up the pitch. They could have wilted here, Fulham, and gone under, but the home side went and took the lead again. And they were playing to Mitrovic's strengths once more, as Matty, this time, gets caught up the pitch, the Liverpool centre-back. And it's a nice, direct, early ball. Mitro is one-on-one with the normally imperious Virgil van Dijk. Inside, outside, penalty. And with the whole world watching, Mitrovic sticks it in the corner for his and Fulham's second. Liverpool, of course, come back and make it 2-2. In isolation, it's a really preventable goal with Ream and Tosin going for the same ball. Salah ends up sticking it home. But look, the pressure was obviously building after the game went back 2-1 in Fulham's favour. On Fulham, and in particular, those two centre-halves. So, 2-2 on opening day. I had Liverpool turning up and winning this one in my predictions. And if we're going down the would you have taken this scoreline before the game, I suspect most Fulham fans would have said a very big yes to a 2-2 draw. And most Liverpool fans, a very big no. However, it's not just the scoreline that Fulham fans are going to view positively, but how that scoreline was reached. They haven't ripped up what has worked last season. They played with attacking intent and aggression. They were durable enough not to come unstuck in the second half when it went 1-1. And they fed their striker exactly the kind of service he thrives on. I think it's safe to say that most of those positives have not been leveraged in Fulham's last two relegated Premier League seasons. The title of this video is Can Mitrovic and Fulham Prove the Doubters Wrong? Well, on the evidence of week one, they absolutely can. Whether they will or not depends upon a few things. Firstly, can they make Craven Cottage a hard place to go where you know a win has to be earned and you're going to come under plenty of attacking pressure? Secondly, can they build on the great foundation set up for them last season and improve upon the team that got them to the dance rather than unceremoniously discarding them as we've seen done at Craven Cottage before? And thirdly, can they continue to mirror the strengths of their star striker in their aggression and intensity and provide Mitrovic not just with chances, but the right types of chances for him to thrive on? Get your comments in on what the opening day has taught us about Fulham. Yes, I know it's only one game, and for those who want to try and shut down the debate with the "you can't discuss it after one game" comment, I can, and I just did. By the same token, there is no victory lap to be had here after 1 week of the Premier League season. Yes, I'm a big Mitrovic fan, but a great start doesn't guarantee him or Fulham anything for the rest of the season. Let's try, if at all possible, to have a balanced discussion here about what is an interesting topic that, if we're all honest, could go any number of ways. If you want, you can get involved with our Premier League predictions each and every week. Please do so. You can click here to see my attempt at the Week 1 fixtures. And why not click here to see my 1 to 20 predictions, which does include Fulham in the relegation zone. Yes, I'm one of those doubters referenced in the title. So can and will Fulham prove me wrong?